So my wound is recovered to the point where I don't
stop storing quarters in it.
Oh god!
Oh, that actually made my skin crawl.
You like go to Aldi, you're like, oh, I have a quarter right here.
I don't know what I expected.
Squish.
So anyway,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's starting to heal to the point where I don't have it covered all the time. It's just the stitches, and so it's starting to itch. It's starting to itch real bad, but also the about square inch of skin right underneath it doesn't have any feeling anymore. So I think those nerves were like severed. I looked it up. Apparently nerves regrow at about 1 millimeter a month.
Whoa.
And you got like 6 feet of nerve to grow there in that leg. So,
Dave, you're just
what was that laugh, Dave? What was that laugh?
I had a mouthful of drink. I almost spewed. That was me trying not to become a fountain.
Ooh, that's good. How you liking those headphones, Dave? Oh, for the audio listeners, you got a set of Razer headphones. Razer wireless headphones spitting directly in God's face.
Yeah, the headset market, I mean, the HyperX's looked really good spec-wise, but I could not do that bright red aluminum aesthetic. I just couldn't do it. Ask me in a few weeks, because having used the exact same pair for almost 5 years straight, it's just an adjustment right now. Like the ear cups are super, super tight.
Did you pay for these?
I did.
That's why you're having a hard time saying anything good about them.
I came this close to just buying a second pair of it's not Plantronics anymore. They got bought out by somebody else. It's still the Rig 800LX, but they're owned by somebody else now. I did notice that the 50mm drivers are a significant upgrade. The sound just sounds better. And the isolation on these is way better. I didn't realize how open the rigs were. But I'm having the side effect now of, again, I've been using my old ones for 5 years. Hearing myself sounds super weird now. So if I talk too loud, let me know.
Hearing yourself just because they don't block as much?
They block way more than the Rig.
Oh, so hearing yourself in a different way?
I'm way more muffled to myself now. So if I talk too loud, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, no, you sound fine.
And because, wow, yeah, I sound so different. Jeez. They're way too tight still. I don't know if there's like a stretching method that people recommend for a new headset or what, but they are so tight.
I normally just stretch them over the leg of like a chair, of like a recliner or something.
I was usually like, I just put them on my head for a few minutes. They're good to go.
Well, I have that problem a lot with headphones being way too tight for my noggin.
So yeah, I need to stretch them out some. Beyond that, same battery life as the Rig, 24 hours.
Okay.
I appreciate that you can install their control panel, the Razer one, without installing all the garbage that they try to shove in your face. What I don't appreciate is that's the best way to get the battery status is by installing their control panel, their Synapse thing. Otherwise, all you have is I think it's like the 2-hour warning red light starts blinking. I wanted to see the battery more than that, because the whole reason I upgraded was my Rig's, the battery just wasn't consistent for charging. It would take like a full night of charging to get a couple days of use, and it would always start dying at like the most awful time where like I had to record something, I've set time aside for. So the battery was a big deal for me being able to know what it is. But yeah, I label it like mildly impressed so far.
Okay. Headphones stuff.
I was gonna say I did laugh at Dan and his hatred of all things wireless. There's some things I can't go back on now for daily use, and that's wireless mouse and headset. I can't go back.
I still have a wired mouse and headset. Although the cord for my mouse has been getting pretty annoying. It's gotten more like stiff as it's gotten old. And my mouse and keyboard are coming on 10 years old, so it might be time to think about upgrading.
Yeah, most people have the opposite problem with that. Yeah.
Clever. So yesterday I was working on the porch. That is a mouse. What type of mouse? That's not the Logitech 501 anymore, is it?
It's a 909. No, the Pro?
It's the Pro, yeah. This is the one I got from the Battlefield 5 launch event. And I was super skeptical because it weighs nothing, and I love it now. I've been using it since 2018.
Maybe send me a link later. I also need a new mouse pad if you've got any recommendations for mice pads.
I do. I was talking to Shane about this. The one that I moved to half decade plus ago at this point. And they don't make this one anymore, unfortunately. But the ones that are super thin, like 1 millimeter thick, and it sticks to your desk surface, that is the way to go. It just turns your entire... Mine's only about 14 inches, but... Man, tonight's just... all about the phrasing. Yeah, the super thin mouse pads that stick right to your desk are great just because they will never move. And you have a large surface area to work with. It would recommend.
Okay. And I've been tempted to get one of those like fancy mechanical keyboards where the typing experience is really awesome. I just don't know, do I want to invest in that level of nerddom? Like a friend showed me one, I started typing on it and I was really, really liking it. And I asked him like, oh, how much did it cost to build this? And he's like, oh, about $650. And I was like, no, thank you. So anyway, I was working outside on the porch yesterday and I was using just my MacBook speakers and mic for meetings and it was sounding fine. And a neighbor, I think, was cutting something with a chainsaw. It was a 2-stroke motor and he just rode the limiter for like 15 minutes. I never get a headache just from annoying noises. I'm just not that person. But it was
right.
Ding, 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 ding. Like, I don't know what he was cutting. He was doing stuff. It wasn't just sitting and idling either. Like, you could hear him cutting things just at max volume the entire time. And after about 10 minutes, I was like, oh man, I got to get headphones. And so I grabbed the Sennheisers I got to use with my PlayStation, and I put them on, and it's the head stretch thing. Like, I put them on, and they clamp tight enough. I'm like, this is making the headache worse. And I ended up taking them back off and getting my wireless earbuds. For earbuds, I'm on the wireless train, and for most of the time in cars, I'm on the wireless train because I have an iPhone with no headphone jack. But I don't know. For my desktop, these headphones, they're just perfect. No maintenance.
Jeremiah, what I use for a mouse pad is one of these things. It's hard on both sides, and it's got a speed side and a designer side.
Okay.
Like control side. I like that.
I'm surprised you went for over-ears, Jeremiah. That's one thing that I had never been able to do is I cannot do over-the-ear headphones outside. I hate the feeling of sweaty ear cups when you're outside.
I do too, but it wasn't that hot yesterday, so it was fine. Like when I'm cutting the grass or something, I wear earbuds and that's it.
What kind did you get? Sorry.
Just my over-the-ears.
Yeah.
Just a Sennheiser gaming headset. Like,
gotcha.
I'd have to look it up. Dang it. Now I'm going to...
Do you still have your rig headset, Jeremiah?
No, I sold that pretty early on.
Okay, I was going to say, I could have just bought that from you.
No, it didn't work with all my consoles, so it wasn't... Like, if I was going to get one that was wireless, I'd want it to match everything. I got the Drop branded Sennheiser PC38X gaming headset.
I was going to say, too, that there is a version of that headset, Jeremiah, that does work with consoles, but they sent you the PC specific review one, I bet.
Yeah.
Same as me.
Yep. Yeah, exact same. But yeah. You guys want to get into it? I mean, not that we are already talking about gaming stuff.
We should knock this out so we can go do some hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to what will you be playing this week if we get out of here at a good time?
Yeah, boy.
All right.
My Discord name's already set. It's ready to go.
Oh, I thought it was an O Sleeper reference.
No, it was definitely the other night when James, it was you, me, and was it Edgar?
It depends on the night. It was either that or Chris, depending on
it was the night with Chris. Yeah, I was the first one down like every match.
Oh, that's normally me. I'm like, a sound of disturbance, I'll head right towards it.
The best hunt meme that I saw this week was someone had this like horrible GIF, like super low pixelated quality, as a good meme always is, extra baked, of just a hunter splayed out on the ground burning, and it was just labeled, "My 3-star friends enjoying trios with me." And they're just on the ground burning.
Well, yeah, we might as well start with that. Let's talk about what we're playing. So since the last podcast...
Wait, is that our intro?
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, no, I'll do the intro. Good point. Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans, a gaming podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and tonight I'm joined by the Ranger.
I would actually prefer Ranger Revive Me over the Ranger at this point.
No, it's not the Ranger, it's the Ranger.
I don't like it still.
And
I never liked it though.
Whatever you say, Ranger.
It cut out for me. It's even worse.
Yeah, it's crushing it for some reason.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also welcome Papa James.
What's up?
Okay. We have a Twitter. We have a Gmail, casualshenanigans@gmail.com. The only thing you should follow Twitter for is a handy link to the show once a month when we go live. There is no other purpose to follow us on Twitter. If you're still following us on Patreon, please unsubscribe. Please. I don't need your $2. Actually, the podcast, it costs us about $7 a month now. That's the lowest tier of hosting on Libsyn.
Inflation again.
Why? I think it's always been $7.
I'm just complaining for the sake of complaining.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so let's get into what we're playing since the last show. And the Hunt Showdown. I think, Dave, it was on the last podcast. You said you were going to get me into playing Hunt more, or maybe it was the one before. I don't remember.
And we didn't, I don't think, except for that one night.
We've done 2 or 3. I'll give it 2 or 3 nights. And it may actually be 1 or 2 nights. And that might be 1 and I'm rounding up. But we definitely did it at least once.
That's all I wanted to hear.
More than 0.
I lost a hunter for the first time. And then I think that night I lost...
Oh, well...
I hadn't played that many times. James
will lose a lot.
Well, yeah. Then I think the next couple matches after that we lost some. I don't know. I'm enjoying playing with you guys, but I still don't get the gameplay loop much. Like, it's really just go here, do stuff, go here, do stuff, bump into other players. Like the metagame. I don't feel like the metagame has really clicked for me. Or I guess it's not the metagame. It's the regular objectives just haven't clicked for me. But it's fun.
Can I try and summarize it for you? Because Joel and I were talking about this week, actually. Because Daisy is doing super well right now. 40,000 players nightly, wow. on weeknights. But Hunt Showdown is
compared to
Daisy.
No, what do you compare that to?
Battlefield with like 5,000 players a night. yeah. I think it was this Monday. Daisy just on Steam had 10 times the players of Battlefield 2042 on Steam. But
it's pretty serious.
I'll clarify this by saying I still love DayZ for what it is, slow paced, no objectives, no missions, you just do your own thing. You make the gameplay. Hunt Showdown is what Joel always wanted, which was a quest system where the entire goal is to bring players together for interactions. So the entire purpose of fighting bosses, finding clues, even the event right now, finding snakes and sacrificing them on the altars, it's all just ways to push players into interactions together.
You say interactions, it's really into firefights, though. I mean, it never really goes any other way, right?
You'd be surprised. I've had 2 friendly encounters, and actually it's both times I've tried a friendly encounter, it's gone super well. I'll describe 2 of them real quick. In April, Shane and I teamed up with a team to push a boss lair together just because we ended up at a clue at the same time, and we both had good positions and couldn't push the clue to move on. So the guy offered to parlay, and we're like, all right, let's just try it. Fought the boss together, or I fought the other teams fighting the boss together. Had a friendly fire incident because they don't have friendly tags over the enemy players. But then we watched after we died on the death cam and like cheered our team on as they actually won the match. And then Shane and I last week were outside of a boss lair. They had beaten the boss. They had shotguns, we could tell because they fired them at the boss. So we don't want to push with our loadouts. We're just waiting for them to push out. They won't push out. After a solid 10-minute standoff, we hear a single player go in the back door of the lair and shotgun them. And then we had like 5 minutes of just awkward silence until I just walked up to the door. I'm like, hey, partner, you solo? You by yourself in there? And he goes like, yeah, I'm by myself. I'm like, well, you definitely earned this bounty, but we'll let you go if you just want to split it because you can only carry like the one. Like, can we have the other one? He's like, yeah. He's like, sure, let's split it. And so he like came out with his first aid kit in his hands, and we came out with our first aid kits in our hand, and we talked for a minute. And he was really nervous about telling us where he was from. We were just talking as we were looting all the bodies that he killed, doing all the work. He ended up being a Chinese player who was playing on West Coast servers over VPN to avoid the Chinese hackers on the Chinese servers. He's like, I'm just trying to complete the event, and I keep getting headshotted from across the map. But yeah, it is mostly gunfights, but you can have some pretty great interactions. And there was one time where I got charged by a team of all of the redneck characters and the suspenders yelling like, you killed my brother, as they all went down one by one.
I didn't know there was in-game mics.
There is in-game mics. Okay. Yeah. You got to use them. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm continuing to love the game. I've been practicing some solo stuff while we're talking about Hunt, just trying to get out of playing it like DayZ, because it is short form DayZ. Like if you play it like DayZ, you're kind of missing the point a little bit. As a solo, you can play cautiously without playing like I do in DayZ.
You mean hiding in the bushes for 4 days? It doesn't get you kills and bounties?
It does sometimes, but you probably should stop.
I think it's funny how in games like that, I'm always charging into stuff, and then when I play Call of Duty with my brothers, I'm always the one that's like, let's hide, let's just wait out a circle, let's just sit in this closet over here. Like the quiet.
You've changed a lot.
Yeah, the quiet mouse might get that cheese. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it used to be let's rush in, let's go straight in the front door.
I mean, I still do that in some stuff, but just compared to them, I'm like, we could stay together. We could communicate about what we're doing. I don't know. Seems like a good idea. Dave, I think I also saw that you've been playing some stuff in 4K. Now, how could that be? Tell the listeners.
We're talking about hardware now. What are we playing this week? Is the hardware shuffle?
You said you've been playing a lot of stuff in 4K, so let's hear about it.
Yeah, finally did a 4K upgrade. They finally had a monitor that released that I've been waiting on. 28 inches, 4K, 144 hertz with the built-in G-Sync module. That's a lot of very picky. It's like someone's like super picky dating profile or something. Like I had a very specific list I've been waiting on. And then of course it was a Micro Center exclusive. I don't know. That got announced right before it launched. Yeah, Micro Center. It was Micro Center
Micro
exclusive.
Stutter.
No, it doesn't have that because of the G-Sync.
I know, but I think you said Micro Stutter. Did he say Micro Stutter?
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
I can't hear myself, so I don't even know.
Okay, all right. I take that back.
Too much new gear at once. So yeah, I had Shane drive across state lines to pick it up for me. Then I took a vacation day. We like road tripped all day long to go pick it up. I got it home and it had a massive cluster of dead pixels right in the middle of the screen. It had one stuck bright green, then two fully dead, and then like it was 12 or so subpixels were dead, like all on the same 3-inch square. It was a Acer X28. Props to them though, because their support was awesome. They got me a prepaid FedEx label. It went to Texas, got delivered to their repair warehouse, and in 12 hours they had a whole new panel in a box back to me, which is, from what I've seen, perfect. Like I can't find any flaws in it.
Awesome.
So that's, I mean, no cost except for my time, out of pocket. It sucked to have it, be that dead out of the box, but impressive.
I'm glad they
support.
replaced it though. I mean, they could have like pushed it back and said, come back with 4 more pixels or something stupid. I mean,
I was worried about that, so I actually set up my DSLR on a tripod and ran a bunch of demos over the screen to where you could see all of the flaws. I had video evidence just in case. I did laugh because on the repair form they replaced the panel, confirmed that all the pixels issues were there, but also marked down that I had like scratched the port, putting the display port cable in. I was like, come on guys, you gave me a whole new panel. Like, did you have to mark that down? It's going in the trash.
Did you send them footage of you poking the screen with your pen, hoping to get more pixels dead?
I sent them way more footage and pictures than they wanted to see. Probably they were probably just like, just give them a new one. And because I've talked about this in the podcast before, how 1440p was perfect, I will say I stand by waiting this long, because Battlefield 5, going back, I played a few hours last week working on a video. It is incredible. All ultra settings except for ray tracing, which in that game never got good support, but all ultra settings, 4K, 144 hertz locked. It is mind blowing. Looks so good.
I need to come over and check that out.
You'll be over here tomorrow, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'll check it out then.
Yeah, man, I am really glad that I waited. It is funny to open up my 1440p screenshots now on the 4K monitor and see how small they are. Jeremiah's laughter was justified. Making thumbnails now off of screenshots is so easy. You get so much room for cropping.
So overall sharpness, do you see an overall sharpness difference in most games that you play?
Games, absolutely. Hunt especially has a lot of aliasing and pop in their version of CryEngine. So honestly, Hunt was what pushed me to finally upgrade when this monitor came out. Like that was the final straw, because I was running a 4K upsample anyway in Hunt, and it was making all my windows shovel every time I launched the game because of it, and it was driving me crazy. And this was my monitor that I'd always wanted anyway. So And the fact that it was 28 inches versus my 27 1440p, like the pixel density is awesome. And with my desk setup, a 32 was never going to fit on my desk because I have.
You already know the next thing I'm going to be ragging on you for.
Hit me.
It's only a 28 incher.
I was so excited that they did not do 32 with this panel. I was so excited.
I think, to be fair, because now that I don't have a whole lot to make fun of you for your monitor choice, you pull your monitor out farther from your desk. So I think relative to where we sit, there's not actually that big of a difference. Mine sits farther back.
Yeah, mine is not very far away. It's hanging like over my keyboard, basically.
Yeah. So what's the best looking game or the game you've been the most surprised at the 4K upgrade?
Oh man.
I mean, you played The Witcher 3, right? You opened that up?
It wasn't installed because of my hard drive swap back in April, so I'm fixing that. I'm playing that this weekend.
Okay.
Have you tried Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk looked good, but my frame rate wasn't great. It was in like the mid 40s.
Oh.
So I don't know. I need to do some tweaking with that setting. Those settings.
The setting you're going to want is DSR, or not DSR, DLSS.
Yeah, I just need to play with it a bit. Let me look at my library page real quick. I played some strategy games, a little bit of Railway Empire, Mashinki, which is also a train sim, to be honest. A little bit of Hell Let Loose. I definitely loaded up Kingdom Come Deliverance, which looked awesome. That's also a CryEngine game. That looks so good at 4K. And some Arma Reforger as well. Haven't played a lot yet. I'm hoping this week I'll get some more time to play more. I did Battlefield 5 and 1, which looked incredible, and those both had super high frame rates, so I'm feeling good about that. But let's be honest here, Hunt is what I really, like I said.
I got a suggestion for you.
Oh, hit me.
Why don't you try Spider-Man?
Oh yeah.
That costs money. That's why.
It's worth the money.
Not for YouTubers, it doesn't.
That's true. Ooh. Although it's Sony might not.
That's true. They may not have their game going yet.
I am gonna install Alien Isolation.
Oh no.
Why? So you can let it not play?
So I can load it up, look around, and be like, "Yep, looks good." 22 gigs.
I agree with
Still
you.
Scared.
Spider-Man would be a really, really good one.
Especially with the ray tracing.
Especially
Do it,
the ray
Dave.
tracing.
Do it.
Okay.
All right. While we're shaming him for that, what else have you been playing, Dave? I see a couple other things on the list there.
I'll keep it short. I already talked about Battlefield 5. Company of Heroes Alpha was a lot of fun. They've amped up the destruction, unlike Battlefield, in that game. Added some other minor features like you can have your infantry units ride on vehicles. It's going to have a fully done access campaign in Africa, which is an interesting perspective for the campaign. Alpha was a lot of fun. It was very short though. Like you had like 3 days to play it. Had a lot of fun with that. I've talked enough now.
James, what about you?
I haven't played much. I did do some upgrades. I've been playing Hunt a little bit. What funny happened the other day when we were playing? Other than Dave dying 100 times.
You sniped that, that one guy right in the face.
No, there was the Edgar was playing with this and he kept disconnecting. So he was like literally we were at the boss fight and he was just kind of hunched down and like this group came up and started punching him and I was like literally hiding with my shotgun and came around and killed 2 of them and shot the 3rd one, but he got me. But there was another match where both Dave and Edgar went down and I was running away getting shot and I just like literally just stopped running and sat in a bush and I could hear them go running around me. And eventually they gave up, but I could hear them. They're within like inches of me.
And you're really good at being quiet.
But yeah. But I upgraded to a 3070. I had a 1070 before. 1440p games weren't working out anymore, so I pushed that and upgraded to an i7 11 series.
Nice.
So.
Nice. How are you enjoying the 3070? I mean, I guess from a 1070, it's got to be pretty much nothing but good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it. First and foremost, the game I'll play probably the most is Hunt, but I wanted to play some other single player games to really push it. If when I've played, I've been able to push everything to ultra at 1440. I even got really good frame rate in Cyberpunk with ray tracing on, so it's been enjoyable so far.
With your, you said 11th series Intel, how's the heat on those? I hear those are pretty warm.
It hasn't been bad. Like, they've got a water cool on it, so it's stayed low.
And Dave, how has heat been on your 3900X?
Let me check test manager because I actually can't remember.
5900X. Sorry, 5900X. Something sounded weird when I said that.
Yeah, it's a 5900X. My case is so big and so empty. A triple radiator was definitely overkill. Even under load, it's like 60 degrees Celsius. It's hilarious.
Man, I think I might just need to get rid of this Corsair 2x120 or like a 240, whatever it is, and get a 360. I'm not happy with this heat management.
Yeah, my CPU right now is at 53 at like medium load, doing this call and all the recording. GPU is at 60. The liquid in my water cooler is at 28 degrees, it says.
Man, that sounds pretty good.
You have an in-the-room air conditioner, though, right?
Yeah, like literally across from the computer. So
that's what you need, Jeremiah. Just put a big air conditioner.
Well, so we have a supplemental air conditioner running right now. So James, you heard that we
It's still down?
Well, we replaced with the one in the back side of the house. That's been replaced with a nice brand new unit. It's awesome. Dude, the condenser is double the size of the old one. It's so efficient. I love it. Then right after that, the one in the front half of the house, which is the one that's more undersized for the application, started suffering, and the house started getting warmer on hot days. Started creeping up to like 76, 77, even though we have it set to 72. We loaned our window unit that we had just bought to get us through the warm month of June with the broken HVAC. We had loaned it to a friend already. It was already installed in their second story. So we're like, well, we can't really ask for that back. So I went and borrowed another smaller unit from another friend and installed it in our window and had to tape cardboard up to plug the rest of the hole in the window on the front of the house. It's facing the road and there's just cardboard taped in there.
Oh, that makes my skin crawl.
But it does a really good job of getting the main part of the living room down to like a manageable level. And then the HVAC can take over the rest of it. Cause I can't, like, I know this is why you have an emergency fund. I cannot emotionally stomach buying a second HVAC unit in the same summer. That's just too much.
That is a hit.
Yeah.
Buy once, cry once.
I did
you
buy.
You always told us.
I did buy once,
twice.
And I cried.
Buy
double.
Twice, extra nice.
Yeah.
Cry squared.
I did get a nice one for the back half of the house, and I'm very glad with it. I'm going to be really excited in the winter because it has a humidifier built in. So it should keep the back half of the house.
Is it a window unit?
No, it's a full on, like, central HVAC unit.
Oh, you mean the previous replacement?
What do you mean?
Like for the system replacement?
Yeah, the system replacement. Yeah,
I got you. I thought you meant like a
replacement.
standalone. Yeah.
No. We added the humidifier as like an option to the standalone.
Oh man, James, you just gave me like a flashback to 2016, talking about Jeremiah's cardboard window there. When we got the mini splits charged and sealed, the day that I pulled my window unit out and then closed and locked the window, I was just like, oh, security, it's back.
Yeah, it doesn't make me, like, we live on a pretty quiet street, but still, it's cardboard. The only thing keeping the riffraff out of my house is cardboard.
Have you heard of bear traps? I'll show you in Hunt tonight.
I need to set up my motion detector. I've got one more motion detector for my security system that I haven't done anything with, and I need to put that like right in front of that window.
I can hear the downed hunter sound in my head, like the window break and like the vault sound, and then they hit the traps.
But yeah, ugh.
Twice in 1 year.
So I've been playing. D Trucks in the chat asks, have you guys tried out printing or tried out Spider-Man yet on the Steam Deck? I have not, because I already bought it for a second time on PlayStation 5 when I got that, so I don't think I want to buy it a third time just to play it on Steam Deck, but I hear it's good, or I hear it runs. I don't know a ton about it, but speaking of Steam Deck, I have started the Resident Evil 2 remake on Steam Deck, so Humble Bundle
exciting.
had a deal for all of the I think pretty much all the Resident Evil games for $30, so I went ahead and picked that up. And I've never played RE2 or the remake, so I'm only about an hour in, but it's fun. It's only like an 8-hour game, right?
Yeah, it's not long.
Okay. But it's really good. It plays great. It runs at 60 FPS on like medium high settings, 0 issues. Like, I like it. I'm still really enjoying the deck. I mean, it does exactly what it needs to do. Awesome.
I was going to ask you this podcast, Jeremiah. I was like, please tell me you're still using it.
I am. Well, so I wasn't playing a whole
good.
lot of games for about 3 or 4 weeks, so I didn't play much deck either, but I wasn't playing on any of my systems. So it coincides with how much I'm playing any other system too. If I'm
That's
in the mood to
interesting.
go- yeah, I keep it in the living room because I figured the best thing for it is after work I can like walk and just plop down on the couch and go for a while until dinner's ready. That's my normal end of meetings thing. And instead of just
Sure.
like browsing on my phone or reading or something, I can pick up the deck and play a game. So some days I'm reading a magazine, other days I'm catching up on a book, reading my phone, or playing the Steam Deck. It's just whatever I'm in the mood for. But that's why I keep it there, because that's like the time when I'm most in the mood for it. I don't keep it like by my bed, because if I start playing a game at night, I have to sit up, and I don't like that, sitting up in bed. I like laying on my side and reading. And it'll just keep me up because I'll get too invested into it. So that's not really good either. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, every flight that I can fit it in my bag on, I'm bringing it, because it was the best flight I've ever had, was just playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think I beat that game in 5.5 hours. That's an incredibly short game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super short.
I can appreciate that these days.
100%. And also, I bought Assassin's Creed 2 on a Steam sale and installed that on the deck to play. Mostly just for nostalgia. Now that I've gotten a few hours in, I'm like, yeah,
it's changed a lot.
Yeah. And but the story and the music and everything way better in the old one. Like, I don't think the newer ones really can compare. But yeah. And then Star Citizen. So Star Citizen had another big patch that came out, and I don't know if you guys heard about the scuttlebutt. They said, yeah, we're doing another database wipe, but you're going to keep your rep and everything, but we're going to wipe out your wallet, but we'll give you a credit, like based on how long you played during the last patch, and we'll give a credit to people's wallets. Well, somebody fat-fingered the conversion ratio they were going to use. Like, it's like someone actually added an extra 0 and didn't notice.
Oh boy.
Because people had like millions and millions and millions of in-game credits when the new patch came live. Like, they're basing it per hour. Me and Chris played maybe 3 hours that last patch, and we had almost $1 million. So people who were played like 100 hours or something were deca millionaires. So they actually took all that money away, gave everyone $1 million as an apology, and then just moved on.
That's great.
So what Chris and I are trying this time is we've bought a little two-seater ship, the Terrapin, and we're doing salvage. So we're flying out to all the new wrecks, and you can now sell armor and guns and stuff to vendors. So we are stripping bodies clean and bringing back all their stuff to sell. And we're doing some of the new events and doing salvage run missions and stuff. So still having a really great time. It's less buggy than it has been. And space is still beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna break in right here. Space is the final nightmare and remains so. I had a lot of fun watching Jeremiah and Chris play. It's like a week or two ago. Did you hear about this, James?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
yeah.
You're gonna tell this story, okay?
Yeah. They're zooming around, raiding ships, fighting in the hallways, doing cool stuff, going back to the hubs, going back and forth. Game looks great, very immersive. Yes, space can be beautiful. Then the final nightmare hit when Jeremiah you were heading out from a planet, right? And you thought you were out of the gravity field.
Okay, so here's what happened, James. Here's what happened. Okay, here's
Here
what
come
happened.
the excuses.
I was taking off from a moon. It was a moon. So it's already nighttime. Well, not that makes a difference for a moon. There's not much atmosphere. You get out of the atmosphere in like 10 seconds, right? But the altimeter is busted this patch. So you can't actually tell how far off the planet you are. So what you normally do is you just listen for the sound of the atmosphere to go away, and that lets you know that you're in space. Well, we were talking, we're hanging out, Dave's watching the stream. It's like, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
It's beautiful. It looks great.
It looks great. I did not pay attention to the sound of whether or not I was out of the atmosphere, and I exited the back of my ship because I was going to EVA over to Chris's ship for something. I don't even remember why. And when I exited out and I turned around, the ship's just rapidly moving away from me. I'm like, that's weird. Well, my ship's thrusters were holding it steady, but I was still in atmosphere falling to the planet. So for the next 5 minutes, they got to watch me peacefully on stream, just like floating like this, just hurtling towards the ground.
As Chris fought the desync to try and figure out where he was falling, because he was falling pretty fast, and tried to just scoop him up with his ship. So yeah, we just watched Jeremiah flailing through space, falling back to the moon.
Did it feel like Interstellar when they were trying to dock?
A little bit, because Chris.
Actually, yes.
So what I was trying to convince Chris to do, I was like, take your ship, go get my ship, bring my ship back, because mine has a big rear hatch, and flip mine, and then just come up underneath me and barn swallow me in. We have barn swallowed a ship successfully in Star Citizen. Granted, both ships were hovering and being careful, and I was falling towards the surface of the planet. But Chris didn't want to do that because he felt like he'd probably lose his ship, which might be fair. Who knows what would happen?
Clip right through it. And,
but like, at this point, my ship is like 5 kilometers away and steadily moving farther away. But yeah, he zoomed around trying to get me to fall into him a few times. And then I hit the ground and I did die, as it turns out. I was really hopeful that I would somehow pull one out right at the end, but I did not. So
it was the lead up that hurt, though. It was the flailing around through beautiful space. Beautiful, terrifying space.
Okay, you guys ready to talk about the news?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all your news, right?
I added some stuff in. I figured we'd all like to talk about it.
It is pretty good.
Ben in the chat also has a Steam Deck. So for anyone else who has one, he says that Vampire Survivors is amazing on Steam Deck. Great game to play when watching TV or stuff. Also, Ben says he's gotten hardcore into 3D printing this last month. That must be why I haven't heard much from you. He'll have to dump some of the photos, trying to get all the hobbies in before the baby.
He's got every size Glock frame done now.
Oh my. Okay. First news item. Sony might be working on a PlayStation PC games launcher. So you may have seen that Spider-Man was Sony's second best PC launch right after God of War. But the important thing is that the games are being big successes on PC, and Sony is now realizing what Microsoft realized 6 years ago. A lot of people play PC games. Sell your games to them. So the files for the PC version of Spider-Man Remastered include references to a PlayStation PC launcher. Game files also often mention content that has been scrapped, but it shows that having an independent PC launcher is an idea at least being floated around at Sony. The assumption is that we would have to use PlayStation Network accounts and everything, which makes a certain amount of sense. But yeah, that's very interesting.
Just got rid of the Bethesda launcher too. We just got down one, and here we are with another one.
Yeah, my recommendation would be don't. Just do what everyone else does and go with Steam, or you'll make your own, and then eventually you'll come crawling back. So if you don't want Microsoft to buy you and add you to Game Pass, which would be really awkward for Sony, your other option really is Steam or the Epic launcher, which you also probably don't want to do.
Yeah,
they are on the Epic launcher and Steam.
Oh, I didn't know they were also on the Epic launcher. Interesting.
Yeah, you can play them on both. Doesn't mean the Ubisoft games will launch on Uplay from, Epic, as do Origin stuff, or EA Play, sorry. But they just apparently released a website for their PC games.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking it more serious, which is awesome.
Jeremiah does have a point, though. We are up to 2 large AAA launchers that have given up and put their games back on Steam. Origin took a decade to give up. They're back on Steam now. All new launches, EA launches, are back on Steam. And Bethesda only made it, 3.5 years before they threw in the towel? Now all Bethesda games are back on Steam first. And they ditched the whole launcher in Steam's, and in Bethesda's case.
I think Fallout 76 probably killed that.
Killed a lot of things.
That was their launch title. EA Origin at least had Battlefield 3 as the first Origin game. Was Battlefield 3? That was cornerstone. I mean, that's.
And man, remember that browser launcher that we all made fun of, and now I'd give anything to go back to having that browser launcher.
Oh man, Chris played Battlefield 3 to play the reality mod with this for the first time. And he was so confused. He hit play in Origin like 50 times. He's like, why does Chrome keep opening? Where's my game? And we finally realized what was happening is he wasn't saying anything. He's going to get in the game. It's like, no, that's how it works. It's browser based. Oh, Chris is here. Chris is here.
All right.
Just time for me to throw him under the bus.
Next news item. This one was pretty entertaining. A modder has added Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system into Skyrim, which means you can set yourself up for revenge against dragons, mud crabs, or anything else that's killed you.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
It is. It's really cool.
I love it.
I think the coolest part is just people are still looking at Skyrim being like, you know what? There's a little more meat on that bone. Like, back to it.
The wild part about both Skyrim and Fallout 4 is that they've been out for so long now with such great modding support that people have built now third-party modding frameworks for the games to let you do stuff that the engine actually can't support natively on its own. Like Fallout 4 has a mod limit of a 255, and so people have written frameworks to help you get around that and do like scripting stuff that the engine can't normally support. There's some very talented people putting some time and energy into this stuff. It's wild.
Speaking of time and energy and talented people, this next news item started out as the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake has reportedly been delayed indefinitely, and this was late July this story came out. That's according to Bloomberg, which claims developer Aspyr Media fired the game's design director Brad Prince and art director Jason Minor earlier this month. The pair were reportedly fired shortly after the studio finalized a demo of the game to show to its production partners Lucasfilm and Sony. So look, I've been in some meetings that have been stinkers where like we just don't have a lot to show, things aren't going well, stuff's broken. I have not been in one where people were fired immediately afterwards. That's got to be a pretty bad demo.
Yeah, man.
So it had been in development for 3 years already at Austin, Texas-based Aspyr, which was supposed to have it ready for release by the end of 2022. Did you realize that?
No. I don't think they ever released a date.
Supposedly, when they first announced it, that was tentative. But a Bloomberg source suggested too much time and money had been invested in the demo, and a more realistic release window would be 2025.
That's a little bit of a window there.
So Aspyr is a subsidiary of World War Z and Witcher 3 Switchport studio Saber Interactive.
What?
Yum. So anyway, the next news story came out today, and it says a report suggests the KOTOR remake isn't delayed at all. This is from PC Gamer. So according to a financial report from the Embracer Group, the parent company of the studio working on the game says that one of the group's AAA projects has transitioned to another studio within the group, and it isn't expecting any material delays for the title based on this transition. The company said the delay was to ensure the quality bar is where we need it to be for the title. So that's a very they're talking their way around. It's in really, really bad shape right now, and we're trying to clean it up. It's also ridiculous to think that an entire game will move from one studio to another and won't be delayed. It obviously will be delayed.
Yeah.
But like, James, if you're saying like they haven't committed to a hard date yet, they're saying, yeah, we're still on target for that release window that we haven't announced yet. Everything's great. Don't worry about it. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I was really, really sad when they announced, or well, not when they announced, but when the reports came out that they were delaying it indefinitely. Obviously, indefinitely isn't a good thing. Delaying it for quality assurance or whatever, sure.
But normally when people say something like that.
Delaying indefinitely sounds like Firestorm.
Yeah.
Well, it could be, they could have just done a Batgirl, so I guess it could be worse. Dave, did you hear about that?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
It was just completely, like, it was done, wasn't it? And it was canceled.
Done.
It was close to done.
Well, I mean, at the point of done, it's essentially done.
Principal
Like,
filming and all is, yeah.
Yeah. like almost ready to be released. But man, Discovery is just, they're on a tear.
They haven't announced what they're going to do, though.
What do you mean?
Discovery hasn't like set out their 10-year roadmap yet.
Well, I think their 1-year roadmap is just canceling a whole bunch of HBO stuff.
All this delayed talk reminded me that I have a news item too once we get down to the bottom.
Okay, well, I'll do my next one while you get that ready. So
we're gonna start like hashtagging Restore the Snyderverse then on our podcast. Come on, Discovery.
I would like to say that, but I just want to restore the Snyderverse, except please cancel the Flash movie already. Please.
What sucks is it might be a good movie.
James, it's not going to be a good movie. It's been in production since 2014. They were doing reshoots all this summer. They've been doing reshoots all summer. Dave, do you know how many times Ezra Miller's gotten arrested this year?
I had been following that. Yeah, I don't watch the movies, but I'm here for the drama.
They're doing reshoots in and around court appearances and arrests. The other day, we went down a rabbit hole with some friends, and I brought up the Wikipedia about Ezra Miller and started reading down it. Every single time I started a new section, they were like, "He did what? They did what?" Like,
and it's all in like the last year and a half too, right? Like all the really bad stuff. It's I mean, it's sad, obviously. But it sounds like an Onion article series. It's so.
But like, imagine you worked on Batgirl, and Batgirl was probably not an incredible movie, okay? But like, let's say you worked on Batgirl and you're proud of it, and it's done, and the studio's like, guys, we just don't think we're going to get this one across the finish line. We're not going to pay for those advertising fees. Meanwhile, Ezra Miller is dressed up as a clown riding a horse to a kid's house trying to kidnap them somewhere in the Northeast. And you're like, come on, guys. Like, you don't even know Batgirl's name. Everyone in that movie's behaved. You forgot they were making it. Zero drama.
I think they're stuck in a really hard place because that was supposed to like reboot their universe, number one. And number two, like
really?
it's testing really positive. Like everybody that's viewed it has said it's actually a really well done movie.
They could take Grant Gustin and just deep fake his face over Ezra Miller's, and I think everyone would just be like, yeah, it's fine. Like it could look as bad as Henry Cavill's mustache. And everyone would probably...
He's a mustache now? Oh, no.
No. The mustache... you remember the mustache gate?
No.
So when they did Justice League, when Zack Snyder, the original director, left, Joss Whedon, who did the Avengers movies and like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, came in and kind of finished the movie, but did a lot of reshooting, like reshot a huge chunk of the movie to lighten it up and give it a different feel. And Henry Cavill, Superman, was contractually obligated to keep his mustache for Mission Impossible. And so instead of like delaying it or whatever, they like digitally removed his mustache. But like it looks so bad. I'm gonna actually send it to you. I need to see a reaction.
It's not just a mustache. You have to remove a mustache and add a lip back in. Like that's where it goes off the rails. Like you can remove facial hair, like a chunk of facial hair from someone's face, and you can make that look okay. But adding a lip back in while someone's talking didn't look good. It's one of those uncanny valley things where, like, if no one told you and you caught it out of the corner of your eye, you might not know. But if you notice
this shift, like something's wrong here. You just can't figure it out. What's wrong? Here you go.
I'm opening it right now. Oh no, mustache movie clip. Here we go.
This is good radio.
Oh, he's made of wax.
Right. So I think they could do that to Grant Gustin's head over Ezra Miller as Flash, and everyone would just get over it and be like, yep, we accept. This is the deal. They could say, James, we ought to work in like PR for some of these people. Like, it's not that hard to do a decent job on the internet these days. All they have to do is announce, they could put out a press release saying, hey guys, we're getting rid of Ezra Miller for all the reasons that are extremely public and obvious. We're replacing him with Grant Gustin's head. Yes, we got the same people to do it who did the mustache for Henry Cavill. You're welcome. And the internet would probably actually respect them for it. They'd probably be like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
What it happened in Mando too, not to be a spoiler, but them redoing, this is completely a spoiler, them doing Luke's de-aged face. Like someone from the internet made a better version of it and ended up getting hired by LucasArts or Lucasfilm to, work with them,
which is awesome.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, the de-aging stuff, I feel like it really is so rarely done well. And what's nuts is, was it X-Men 3, X-Men United or something? Or X-Men 3, whatever that was called. They de-aged both Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, and Gandalf. You know who I'm talking about. They de-aged both of them, and they both looked
Ian
great.
McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart. That's right. Okay, I got him.
A lot of sirs.
But they did that in 2006 or something, and it looked great. I remember people being blown away by how good it looked, and it feels like we've definitely regressed a little bit, where a lot of de-aging is just done lazily or something now. I don't know.
I feel like CG in general has gotten worse over the last year.
I think it's being relied on so much that there's just not enough talented people to work on it. I think that's the problem, is like the industry, it sounds like it's a brutal industry to be in. It continues to be. And because so many high budget TV shows are throwing around massive amounts of money, like all the really good effects houses are stretched to the max, and there's a lot of crappy ones out there doing work.
And time frames. I think the time frames are a huge issue, because all television now is so dependent on CGI that there's just not enough time for all these projects.
Unless you have the volume, and then you decide, oh, that's replaced all of our stuff, and then everyone complains that your shows look not like green screened, but still weird, and we're not sure how. But anyway.
Did you see Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Multiverse? Okay.
It was fine.
It was the ending.
Yeah. It was fine. So PlayStation 5 sales largely fall flat, and game sales have also fallen. I thought this was interesting. It was a Eurogamer article, and I think it's interesting the way they wrote it. So during the 3 months ending June 30th, so the second quarter, Sony shipped 2.4 million consoles, only a slight increase over the 2.3 million it managed over the same time last year. This contrasts with Sony's forecast of the year, which it says it expects to sell 18 million consoles compared to the 11.5 million it sold in 2021. So Sony now has 3 remaining quarters to sell 15.7 million consoles, which would require a major boost to production and sales figures far higher than any other quarter so far. So it says it's going to sell 18 million. It can't produce that many. Like they sold every single one they produced, and they only did 2.5 million this past quarter. And
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and then they say they expect to sell fewer first-party games this year than expected, which could also impact their bottom line. So this year they've launched Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, and then God of War Ragnarok and Last of Us Part 1 should arrive this fall. So PlayStation Plus subscribers are now up to 47.3 million, up 1 million from this time last year. Yeah, I don't know. Total PS5 sales now stand at 21.7 units worldwide. But I think it's interesting that they said like the sales are like flatlining, like it's something like consumers don't like the PS5 or something. You still can't go into a store and buy one. You can buy I think both versions of Xbox fairly easily, and the GPU market has finally crashed back down to normal where you can just go out and buy a GPU. But the PS5 is still completely sold out everywhere, and it seems like it's just Sony can't possibly keep up with demand.
Speaking of GPU,
we're in strange times.
What'd you say?
Speaking of the GPU market, that our main topic, or is that an old main topic?
That was the main topic for tonight, but we skipped over it, and we're talking about stuff that we yeah.
Save it for next time.
Well, no, all I was going to say, we can spend 3 minutes on it probably, and we'll be done. The GPU market has crashed down. It's a great time to be looking for GPUs. There was a refurbished EVGA 3090 Ti a couple weeks ago for $1,200 for a 3090 Ti. Like it's pretty good. You can go out and buy, for $500 you can get an incredible GPU. I still think the market is way overpriced, but they're
I got my 3070 MSRP.
What's MSRP for those? Is it like 500?
500.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome.
At the end of last year, beginning of this year, I think my 3080 Ti was around 1,400. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a 3090 Ti for about $14.99 regular price.
Now, there's not a massive difference between the two of those, though. Like in performance, it's maybe 10%, and that's being generous. So it's not something I'd worry about, but still, it's kind of like, man. Yeah, everyone who paid $2,500 for a 3090 or something probably isn't loving it right now. But yeah. And I think isn't NVIDIA teasing that the 4000 series is going to be coming out like in the next 6 months here as we approach 2 years since the launch of the 3000 series, and you can just now buy them.
And yeah, it's a weird time. It's a really weird time. I'm glad the prices are falling.
The last 2.5 years summarized. It's a weird time, real weird time.
Speaking of that, let's just segue right into my news article.
Okay.
I'm gonna post this in the chat so everyone else can see too on the live stream. So the Stalker 2 devs have posted an update from Ukraine. This is one of the lead AI developers here, manning a 50 cal machine gun.
We'll see you at release. That's kind of badass.
Man, so all the delays that Jeremiah was talking about remind me that I don't think I've talked about this. They posted a dev update video for Stalker 2. Officially, the game is only delayed until next April. So from December of this year to next April. Their almost entire studio has been moved to, I want to say it ended up being Poland. It was back and forth between the Czech Republic or Poland was where they were going to move to. But I believe it was Poland in the end. But some of their male members of the studio actually legally couldn't leave because of the conscription. So a bunch of like their developers are in like the home guard units around Kiev still. So, you know, we talk about remote work. Some of their guys are still in Kiev and around the capital in their National Guard, basically, in the middle of a war zone. But the game appears to be continuing, and I think that's it's going to be an amazing, probably one of the most amazing success stories if this game launches at all, that they survived an invasion and were still able to launch at all. But yeah, you can see it on the official Stalker 2 YouTube video. It's a pretty wild and sobering update video. Before they moved studios, they had some of those initial missile strikes early on in the war hitting a half block away, like leveling apartment buildings near their studio. And I think it was one of their social media managers that was stuck in town, because I think they had some relatives they were helping to take care of. They had moved their computer to their bathroom so that they could get into the bathtub during air raid sirens and still work. Like I said, it's going to be an absolutely wild success story if the game launches, and I really hope it does.
Yeah, I hope it does, and I think everyone would probably give them a lot of leeway for delays and bugs and other things, but honestly, I hope Microsoft just lets them hold the game until they are able to launch it in like a perfect state. You know, so that doesn't have to be like we can't be toxic to them on the internet because they lived through an invasion of their country.
Yeah,
It would be great if they just get all the time they need, so it's just an amazing launch on top of the incredible story behind it. I mean, not that is nearly as important as them fighting for their country, just to be clear, but just as like this is their work and being able to
it's admirable.
Themselves.
Yeah, it's
right. Yeah, like it's no one's in the games industry to make massive amounts of money unless you're the CEO of one of these companies. Like, you've got to be in it because you love it, and just being able to hopefully finish the work they started so long ago, I think would probably be pretty awesome.
On a slightly lighter note, someone did point out on the update video a concept that kind of made me go, too, and that's that in the Stalker games, you're illegally crossing into the zone, right? You're violating this restricted space to go hunt for loot, essentially. And so in the games, the Ukrainian military has been like one of the bad factions to you, actually. Like, a lot of the military in charge of the zone in the in-game lore is like super corrupt. And I was like, someone pointed out how strange it might be for some of these guys who are now in the Ukrainian military to be writing a game where the Ukrainian military is kind of the bad guys, while their country's being invaded. Because, it's an alternate timeline, sure, but it's got to be a strange scenario to be in for their writers.
I don't know, if I was them, I'd be like, scan my face in, make me one of them.
I mean, you did volunteer to be the bad guy for Norman, so.
Volunteer? Yeah.
None of us truly volunteered. We all know that.
Only person that volunteered was P4. Speaking of Joel, he did want to be here tonight. Last week, he confirmed that he was definitely available to podcast this week, and then he said he could not 2 days ago yesterday because he was working on a side job for somebody, And he's also going on vacation in 2 weeks, so that's his deadline to be done with the thing to hand it off. And I said, well, you said last week this week would have been good. And he said, I misspoke like a hopeful little bitch. So Joel did want to be
Joel
here.
charm you were talking about, James.
But we miss him. He did prepare the doc for us. He did not update the episode title or date or any other information. So, Dave, I need to ask, is that Dear God Dave story the holdover from last time? It looks familiar.
It is the holdover from last time. Yep.
Okay. All right. Then we'll close out with a comment of the week. This is actually a comment on last time's podcast from our very own podcast historian, Shane the Ultra Grunt, who is celebrating his birthday this week. Send him some hot, nasty love in the comments. Nope. Okay. That's too much. All right. He's also mangled one of his hands and turned it into a flipper right now, a bandaged flipper. So pour one out for him because he doesn't have an opposable thumb to do that himself right now. And anyway, he left a comment back when he could still type on the last podcast and said, Joel has made me realize how much I hate the term vegetable medley. Just remember Joel mentioned that the last episode. I almost hate it as much as seeing the word real on so much food in the U.S., which fair. Also, R.I.P. Skull and Bones. It had a good reveal and is now going down a path we cannot follow.
Oh man, that Skull and Bones gameplay reveal. It's like I still can't get over that. You know, here's this more realistic pirate game compared to help me out here.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. You know, that everyone's been waiting for. You know what you really want though, are some fantasy floating islands, and some magic, and some I don't even know what that launch was. That revealed gameplay trailer.
So what happened to Skull and Bones? I haven't been following.
It looks like it's been Ubisofted.
Oh.
Heavy fantasy elements. Like the first shot in the gameplay reveal is some kind of like floating hourglass shaped island. And it's like, I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's just not what people were expecting after all this time.
Right.
Did you guys talk about the cancellation of the Ghost Recon Battle Royale?
No, everyone knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we're talking about really. Go ahead, Jeeps.
Ghost Recon released their own version of Battle Royale that was first person.
Huh.
Which kind of sucks because they had a decent third person engine back in the day when Wildlands was good.
Oh, so good.
Huh.
But it's dead, so there's nothing to learn about it.
Okay, good to know.
The term asset flip gets overused, but this looked like someone had spent 6 months combining assets from Breakpoint and Wildlands and making a PUBG ripoff. It did not look good at all.
Well,
I don't know why they didn't just take the engine from Wildlands, not Breakpoint, because it was terrible.
was it the same engine for Breakpoint and Wildlands?
It was, yeah. It just it was
It didn't.
glitchier.
They didn't do. God, we had a good time playing the beta.
James,
man.
James like we'll always have the Wildlands beta or the Breakpoint beta. Which beta was it?
The Breakpoint beta was terrible.
Oh, because
it was
But
broken.
That's what made it good. Like half the snow was purple, and like if you roll around in like the snow, you like take on the color to kind of camouflage. But so when you get to the purple stuff, your whole body would turn purple, and then the trees were just dancing the whole time like this.
I mean, I guess
Really weird.
At like 2 FPS, yeah.
And there was one point where you would desync. Like I have this video, I gotta find it, of Dan was like laying on the ground. And he was just going like this. It's just going back and forth. I gotta find that.
good times.
James, you know what Shane reminded me of from Wildlands that I actually laughed out loud so hard at this? We were talking about the Hunt event, and you know it's their first battle pass they've ever tried in Hunt.
Yeah.
To help monetize the game. And Shane reminded me how, as Wildlands was dying, it had like 500 active players a week. They started 2 different battle passes in the multiplayer. 2.
What did they have? What's the difference?
There was like a free tier, and then like a better tier, and then like a premium battle pass for their tiny segment of players.
That's unfortunate.
That's aggressive right there.
Aggressive battle passing. Well, gentlemen, anything else we want to talk about before we call it?
Let's go sacrifice some snakes.
I'm assuming we're talking about the hut, but I'm in either way.
It's whatever you want it to be.
James, you want to go charm some snakes?
Sure.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out to be a part of the show. I don't know if charm a snake is going to become the new slap a seal. It's got some slightly different connotations, some of the same ones. So anyway, as always, you can tweet at casualshenanigans. Please don't. I won't read it. You can also write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com if you want to be a part of the show, or you can leave a comment on one of our recent podcasts. We are wherever you can get all your premium audio podcasts, including like Spotify and iTunes and wherever else. It's a good time. Go have a good time. Thank you for being here each and every time we do this, once every couple of weeks to a month or so. We'll keep doing it as long as you guys keep listening, or we want to do it. So one of those two things. All right, we're going to go play the Hunt Showdown. Until next time, James, what should everybody do?
Charm a snake.
I was hoping for that.